Hello and welcome to another edition of Pulp Picks. My name is Patrick.
I'm Fritz.
And we're here to give you this week's reading recommendations for the new comic books released this week. And let's get right into it. We kind of had to power read this morning because Fritz had the day off yesterday. And that meant that you were cramming this morning.
Yeah, but I got to cram some good stuff in. Speaking of which, my pick is Power Girl #1. This is... It's probably been like over a decade since the last time she had her own ongoing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure I ended right around when New 52 happened. Like, she's had some stuff, like, she and Huntress were in World's Finest for a bit, but, this is her first, proper ongoing in a while. This is kind of building off, she recently had a string of, backup stories and action comics, and also one-off special that kind of, tied that up while setting up this a bit. But, I'd recommend definitely checking all those out. You can also just kind of, hop into this issue that kind of set up what you do need to know about her current status quo, her new power set, her she's working with Omen to do some cool stuff. And this issue, honestly, it's a lot of action.
Yes.
I was not expecting it to be mostly action. There's a charity auction, some aliens show up who aren't happy about the auction. There's some interesting stuff they're teasing with the new bad guy, Amalek, I think was his name.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, he's very much not a fan of Kryptonians and is very keen on letting any Kryptonians he meets aware of that fact.
Yeah. First appearance?
I believe so. I'm pretty sure he's a new character.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking when I was reading it.
Yeah, but no, he's but he's also he's dangerous, but he's got this certain swagger to him. You can tell he's been doing what he's been doing for a while, and he's got an ease about him to it.
Yes,
that makes him really likable. But yeah, it's so that whole bit's a lot of fun. Power Girl, she's still kind of she's finally more comfortable being a part of the Superman family after not being that way for a long time. But there's still some road bumps, especially without getting to the big twist at the end of this. There's Superman sending her on a mission to check out some weird virus that specifically ties to her, and I'm very curious to see how, because it's it doesn't, I don't know, it's one of those things where could it be a red herring, or could it be there be some bigger thing afoot. I'm super excited to see what they do with that. But yeah. I mean, regardless of any of that, it's a very solid first issue, really gets you a feel for her character. She's I love her interactions with Omen, especially because her being a mind reader, you'll have every comic has your character with their internal monologues, but then every so often Owen just kind of interrupts it, hey, did you remember to feed the cat?
Yeah.
So
their back and forth is very organic and fun.
Yeah. So hopefully you get even more of that as it goes forward. But yeah, I'm excited for what comes next. We already know Amalek is going to be showing up more that they tease at the end of this, so that'll be cool. And a solid first start to the new series.
Yeah, and I like that Power Girl is getting her own new villain to start this off with, because, otherwise it can be kind of... just, she's in the super family, so she's just going to get all the retread Super's villains. And this one was really cool. Who did the art on this one?
I'm blanking. I believe it's Eduardo Cassini or something.
And have we seen them? Yeah.
Oh yeah, they did a lot of Green Lanterns back during the Rebirth era.
Oh,
I think they did most of that run with.
Okay.
Yeah, they did most of that run with Sam Humphries. So.
Yeah, I liked it. It was a good fit, I thought.
He can draw some fun alien stuff, some cool action.
Yeah, because there was some alien tech on display and so forth. And it was very cool.
Got some Atlanteans showing up, which
were very
also
cool
I mentioned it's a good jumping on point, but it's also if you have been reading her other stuff, you have been reading Action Comics, there's a lot of cool ties to that with the Blue Earth movement, the incident with the Atlanteans from a while back now in Action Comics, but there's some nice cuts in there if you have been following. But again, if not, you're not going to be lost.
And I was behind on Action. I had read the first handful of the backup stories with her and Omen in it. But what was this the first appearance of her alter ego too?
Kind of, sort of. They'd set it up a bit in there, but yeah, this is yeah, like she's got like her whole new identity as like Paige Stettler. Like she's still like doing like a businesswoman thing, but like now she's like kind of into more like experimental renewable things, like which considering like how that plays into why Amlak is there and like who this mysterious dealer that she got some of this stuff that he's there to steal from. I'm curious what that's all about, because that's, as far as I'm aware, the first introduction of that character too. So
yeah. I would never get on a pleasure yacht cruise in the DCU because they always go bad.
Well, because they even talk about this, so that she's just like, I kind of figured this would happen, so like it's a good thing I'm prepared for it.
Yeah, it was good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So pick it up. That's a definite good jumping on point for Power Girl. Yeah, well, I'm gonna go with Marvel's The Immortal Thor #2. Now, this is Al Ewing, who has just been on fire. And we picked Immortal Thor #1. That was our consensus pick, I believe. And it was hands down one of the best. And Thor has had a pretty good run on and off lately.
I'd say of the like quote unquote big three at Marvel for like the last like decade, he's probably had the most consistent runs. Yeah,
the Straczynski run was really good, who now is back again writing at Marvel.
Fraction's run was good. Aaron's run like dominated like Marvel for like years.
Yeah, when it was probably the best stuff that Aaron has written.
Especially at least at Marvel.
Yeah, definitely. And so this is kind of a back to the roots Thor. He's the All-Father, and so he's got Odin's power, and he's taking on some primordial god from before the Norse gods.
Yeah, like we don't know a whole lot. Like we know that they're like hail from this realm called Utgard, which it seems to be implied like the other gods like are aware of to some extent, but it's not like super clear what that's about.
Yeah.
But what is super clear is they are way more powerful than...
And huge.
Yeah.
Dude is huge.
Like, this cover is not, like, short-selling how big this guy is.
No,
like,
he is...
towers over cities. Like,
Thor, to look him in the eye, Thor is standing on the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
So, and, so we get... It's always fun when the writer bakes in whatever weakness the main character is going to have to overcome, or whatever major... tribulation there's going to be, and so we get it here, and then we also get a nice twist. If you read issue 1, you know that Loki is going to show up, which is not a surprise. It's a Thor book. The other Norse gods are going to show up.
But I think it's the way in which they show up that really like makes it interesting, because they show up when you almost like you should be expecting them, but almost don't.
Yes.
But then, like, why they're there is also just like, that's curious.
Yeah, and then the transformation that they made. It's like it's Loki, but it's how the trickster god has all these kind of different facets to their personality. Yeah. So super cool looking. The vibe for Loki is spot on in this.
Which isn't shocking. Like, one of the first series that Ewing did to really like make their name in Marvel was like Loki, Agent of Asgard, like years ago now.
Oh my God, you're right. Yeah. I forgot that was Al Ewing. Oh, that was a big hit. Yeah.
So like he's always had like a huge affinity for the character. Did a lot of work with them in their recent Defenders miniseries. Loki's great in this, unsurprisingly, but it's also like one of the things I love with anything Ewing does with Loki is that like it's never quite the same take anytime he writes them.
Loki's
like they're always a little different.
Persona or identity or however you want to say it in this one is much more deftly handled. I think it feels more organic and rooted than it has in some of the past appearances. But super cool. I really want to see like an action figure or a statue or a poster or something of this version of Loki, because it's just a great look. And Thor's in his classic look, which is cool. Speaking
of which, I like in this one at the end they've got some like notes from Alex Ross on like how he came up with the redesign for Thor's look. Like obviously very like OG Kirby inspired, but then there's also some notes on like some of the new characters showing up, like Taurinus and this other mystery villain that like seems to be if Taurinus is to the Utgard with Thor is to the Asgardians, this other fellow seems to be their Loki, which is a terrifying notion considering how terrifying this Thor is.
Right,
so.
yeah, it's super cool. So yeah, I really dig it. And, you know, Al Ewing, you know that the story is going to be really good and well thought out, and yeah, excellent. Well, let's move on to our consensus pick, and this is a bit of a, I don't know, a dark horse? I don't know.
We've picked a lot of the series so far.
We have, but it's kind of been quiet, you know, like flying under the radar a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of it, because, and this is the case with a lot of team books.
We should probably say that what we went
Avengers.
Avengers number 5.
Yeah.
But continue.
But I think a thing a lot of team books struggle with is because they're team books, like you've got to find a way to like really allocate like time to each character.
Yes.
Which can also be especially hard when there are a lot of times characters that have their own titles. So like, what can you do? Like, what can you say with them? And a lot of times that means, in the case of these couple of issues here, it's been a lot of they're off on their own doing their little fights, and those fights are good, but like maybe that means like things aren't moving along at quite the speed you'd maybe want them to. And that's definitely not the case with this issue, because there's definitely more of like each character kind of getting like the little spotlight fights. You do learn more about like the Impossible City, the home of like the Action Combine, the villains for this arc.
Super cool concept.
Yeah, you learn a little bit more about these villains, like they're all terrifying. Like I think we've mentioned that before, but scary. Like there's one that literally has like a tesseract inside of herself, so she can just spawn armies and armies of guys for you to fight. That was
disturbing when that happens. Yeah, when she basically opens up.
Yeah, and it's like, and like the Impossible City. A lot of this issue is them having a conversation with Captain America and Black Panther about like, hey, you're not going to win this.
Yeah.
And we'd honestly all be better off if we just kind of like died here. And it's just like, it's super a downer. And obviously the Avengers being the Avengers, just like, no.
Yeah.
We're not like, other people act like there's no winning something. We don't do that.
Right. Yeah. It was really good. And, you know, I like how Jed MacKay is taking time to set the table here. And now it feels like at the end of this issue, we fully understand the situation that the Avengers and Earth are in. And, you know, if you're going to put together an Avengers book, have it be an Earth-threatening, Omega level type.
Like, when you, like, because so many times you got, like, stories where it's just like, oh, here's a villain that can, like, endanger a whole city. Like, this is a team where, like, literally their whole like shtick is they go to different universes and just like each one like murders the city in their own like special fashion. Yeah. So like, how do you handle something that like normally takes the whole team to take on?
Yeah, they're on this bizarre intergalactic road trip of just decimating cities in horrifying ways. And each Avenger kind of splits off and takes. Yeah, and so that does a really good job of pacing. And, you know, each book kind of picks a handful of different Avengers to kind of focus on. And this book did that. But now at the end of this, we get that the Avengers fully comprehend now what they're up against. They're outmatched. Their backs are against the wall. There's no way that they can win. And it feels like the pedal's hitting the metal in this by the end of this, and it's going to really take off. It's really good. This is the Avengers book that I've been waiting for quite a while. It feels like the Avengers books for me have kind of floundered a bit as of late, and this one just Jed MacKay's getting it. Like,
and another thing, you can also tell where like he's kind of like seeding things that might like come back later, because like. When I mentioned before, like the Avengers, like they don't give up on people. Like no one like dies on their watch. Like that kind of ties into like other like previous issues have kind of tied into that. So it'll be interesting to see like how long can they keep that going. Like is that going to be just for this arc? Is that going to be going forward?
Yeah.
Especially in regards to like how it ties into like where that first came from was like having to deal with King in issue 2.
Yeah.
And there's a whole plot line with him that we know is still on. Simmering. How does that tie into some of the stuff we learn about the Impossible City? Like we're going to like, oh, this is not what it was made for. Like it's been like
repurposed.
Yeah. So like, what was it originally for? Like,
Yeah.
what is that fact? Like, he mentions like it used to be for heroes. Like, who are these heroes? Are they like going to be involved? Like, it's I don't know. It's one of those cool things I love where it's just like you've got like this cool story. Well, you've still got like the seeds for like other cool stories to come.
Well, and we've got the whole mix of Avengers that are on this team, and a lot of them have had friction with the Avengers in the past, or have done things that their reputation is tarnished a bit, or they're actively in a tense situation with other members of the team. Really, and we touched on that when we picked number 1, that the lineup here is really interesting in that it's not all just, hey, we're all buddies, this is gonna be easy.
But at the same time, like, 'cause one of the ones we mentioned several times with some of the other issues we picked is like specifically like Black Panther and Cap, like they there's some tenseness there.
They don't agree on everything.
Yeah. But what's like super cool in this issue is like seeing how they do like come together like as Avengers, like how it is like this higher calling that like you might have your issues with your teammates, but like when the chips are down, like you're an Avenger first.
Right.
Like,
yep. Absolutely. Which is great. Gave me goosebumps just you even saying it just now. So good. So yes, absolutely. Pick this up. Avengers has been really good. Power Girl, I was really pleasantly surprised. I was fully expecting to think that it was okay, and I was really pleased.
If I had like $1 for every time there was like one of these new Dawn of DC books where I was just like, it's probably going to be good, I'll check it out, and then be like, oh, this is actually really good. I really like this.
Yeah.
Like it constantly like I'm always expecting good stuff, and then I'm still like somehow surprised at how good it is.
Yeah, we've talked about this a lot at the store here, and with customers who have been coming in. So much of the DC stuff is just feels like they get themselves again. DC as a whole, and they're understanding how their characters fit in today's world and today's storytelling. It's just getting it, and you can never go wrong betting on an Al Ewing book. It's been so good. His run on Hulk was so great, and this Thor run is setting up to be just as good. So, well, I'm excited to see what we get next week. We'll be back with picks when those are available for you to pick up. But in the meantime, come in and pick up.
It's a big week again, which is surprising for the last week of the month.
I know, and it's getting to be that there's just so much out there to pick. You can hardly go wrong, So if you're new to comics, or there's just a couple of titles that you're interested in now, stop on in, and based on your preferences and things that you're interested in, we can help you pick out something that's going to be really good. These 3 definitely are at the top of that list this week. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe, and visit us again next week. Check out the backlog of videos too, because you can always pick up those in trade paperback form, and leave your comments in the section below. So we'll see you next week. Thanks, everybody.
Hey, get us enough views, and we'll just start doing bad renditions of theme songs and stuff.